so that the committee, or indeed, I believe the American people, should be able to see that video or audio tape. Will you support that request?
Will you apologize to Donald Trump
So
for trying to
I
impeach
guess the
him
answer is you won't support that
after
request.
you now know that
So
Joe
let
Biden
me-
tried
let
to
me
cover up
do
Hunter
this.
Biden's involvement with
Excuse
Ukraine?
me. Let me do this, because I think it's valuable that the American people get a sense of what you've refused to answer to. So my question, I don't want an answer to someone else's question. So let me just be precise, and I ask for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
FBI
yes or no?
employees are only terminated
Yes
if
or
they
no,
fail
Mr.
to
Patel?
uphold their oaths of
Yes or
office
no?
and duty.
You're not
That's
answering
the
my
FBI
question.
I
You're
don't
not
have to
answering my
answer your question yes or no, because you're setting up a trap so you can have a media
I'm not
narrative.
setting up a trap
and I'm not
unless-
giving it
Hey
to
everyone,
Unless it's
welcome
true
back
that
to
you
Congress
fired-
Flash. Today, I'm breaking down one of the most intense and frankly disturbing congressional hearings we've seen in a long time. It had everything: military-style raids, questions about secret payments, explosive government actions, and a full-blown breakdown in decorum between senators and top officials. Let's get into the key takeaways from this hearing that you need to know, all in one straight-shooting summary.
It all started with a
Thank you,
junior
Mr. Chairman. One of the advantages of being the junior most member of the committee on our side of the aisle is you get to listen to everything that's gone on before you during the course of a hearing. And I want to add my voice to my colleagues who have raised the concern about what happened yesterday. I listened to my ranking member ask a legitimate oversight question about the legal basis for troops to be rappelling from a Black Hawk helicopter for a military-style assault on an apartment building in a major city, the zip tying of children. What was the legal basis for this? I heard my ranking member ask that very simple question, that completely appropriate question. If that's not an appropriate oversight question, I don't know what an appropriate oversight question is. And the response was not just to refuse to answer the question, but it was to attack the character of the ranking member and to insult him. And then when it was Senator Whitehouse's turn to ask a question, he asked a very legitimate oversight question about a FBI undercover operation in which reportedly $50,000 was paid to the White House border czar prior to him becoming the White House border czar, but with the expectation that he would be helpful in arranging contracts when he became the White House border czar. What happened to the money? A perfectly legitimate oversight question. And rather than answer that question in a closed investigation, not an open investigation, but a closed investigation, she simply attacked Senator Whitehouse personally. And I heard another one of my colleagues ask, what was the legal basis for blowing up ships in the Caribbean? Reportedly, the Justice Department wrote an opinion justifying blowing up ships in the Caribbean. A perfectly legitimate oversight question, and the response was another personal attack. These, what were apparently canned, written personal attacks in advance. I wouldn't bother with the attacks on me. I've grown all too accustomed to them for the last 8 years.
It all started with a junior senator raising serious concerns about how the hearing was handled. He pointed out that every time his colleagues asked tough, legitimate oversight questions, they were met not with answers, but personal attacks.
Now let that sink in. This is supposed to be a hearing where questions are answered, not where senators get roasted for doing their job, and it only got wilder from there. One senator asked about a shocking military-style assault, troops rappelling from Black Hawk helicopters, and zip-tying children during an operation in a major city. The big...
But if members of this committee can't ask those serious questions and get serious answers, we can't do oversight. I'm new to this committee. I spent about a decade on the House Judiciary Committee. I never saw a hearing like this with a cabinet officer, and if I did and some Democratic cabinet officer were to personally attack each of my Republican colleagues, I would call for a stop to it. It would be disgraceful. And I understand the reluctance to criticize on your side of the aisle one of the Republican cabinet members. But if this becomes the template for future hearings, we won't be able to do any oversight, and things will just degenerate. These questions deserve answers. I would expect that if troops were rappelling from helicopters in any city, in any of your states, and hog-tying children, you would want to know the legal basis. And so would I. We are going to submit for the record in written form the questions that the Attorney General refused to answer. I would hope, Mr. Chairman, you would join us in submitting those questions. They will have a much better chance of being answered if you join us in submitting those questions. But I would hope also in the future that if a witness, rather than respond, simply attacks our members, that it be stopped. That the witness be instructed to either answer the question or to state why they're refusing to answer the question, but to refrain from personal attacks on the members of this committee. That would be my request. And Mr. Chairman, I'm really grateful to be on this committee. And I appreciate every interaction I've had with you. You have, in our personal interactions, always been eminently fair. If I didn't think that you were of that character, I wouldn't even raise this because there wouldn't be a point. But I would ask that we not have another hearing like that one, and that you join in our legitimate oversight requests. And with that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
The big question? What was the legal basis for this? And guess what? No answer, just deflection and character attacks.
Then came a bombshell from Senator Whitehouse. He questioned a $50,000 payment made during an FBI undercover op, allegedly given to someone before they became a senior government official. The money was reportedly tied to future contract favors. He asked, where did the money go? Another fair question, another personal attack instead of a response.
And it
I thought that I set the decorum for a hearing, oversight hearing, when I said before we asked the director of the FBI any questions or any statements, that we should, both sides, treat each other with respect. And I even said to Patel, if you don't get a chance to answer your questions, I'll give you an opportunity after the senator's finished for a few minutes to respond whatever you didn't get a chance to say. And you know how that meeting turned out. And particularly from your side of the aisle, a lot of strong statements about the FBI director. Whether they were legitimate or not is beside the point. It didn't follow the decorum, and obviously the director of the FBI didn't follow the decorum. So I don't know what more I can do than plead with my people who are fellow senators to follow a certain decorum, and I assume it would be followed on the other side. I don't appreciate the insults that went to Democrat members, particularly where they were wrong, but after seeing how senators handled the FBI director, I guess I felt that just let the show go on the way the senators wanted to go on. And that's what developed as a result of it. That may be a weak excuse for what happened that day, but I thought things didn't work out the way I expected them to when the FBI director was here, and some of the people on your side of the aisle were some of the ones that were screaming and yelling and talking over the FBI director. Meeting adjourned.
And it doesn't stop there. Another senator brought up something that sounds like a spy movie. The DOJ reportedly authorized blowing up ships in the Caribbean. Again, the question wasn't answered, just more insults. This wasn't just one incident, it became a pattern. Tough questions, met with hostility.
The junior senator, clearly frustrated, said he had never seen anything like this in over 10 years on the House Judiciary Committee. Cabinet officials openly attacking senators in hearings? Unheard of. He called on the chairman to step in, restore order, and make sure questions are either answered or declined with reason, not attitude.
And speaking of accountability, the senators are now planning to submit every unanswered question in writing. They're asking the chairman to co-sign it to increase the pressure for real answers. If you're finding this coverage helpful and want to stay updated on political hearings, government transparency, and real talk about what's happening behind the scenes, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Join the community that keeps its eyes open.
Now, the chairman did respond. He acknowledged that the hearing spiraled out of control. But instead of defending his fellow senators, he kind of threw everyone under the bus, saying both sides were at fault. He pointed out that in a previous session, senators from the other side of the aisle were yelling over the FBI director, and that kind of set the tone.
So basically, no one is happy. The senator wants accountability, the chairman is frustrated, and the hearing, a complete mess. In the end, the chairman closed the meeting, saying things didn't go the way he had hoped, and that right there is the takeaway. If this is what government oversight looks like now, we're in trouble. What do you think? Should cabinet officials be allowed to dodge questions like this? Is it time for stronger rules in these hearings? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I want to hear from you. And if you're into breakdowns like this, no noise, no spin, just facts and clarity, hit like, smash that subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious.